Welcome to Risk Roundup. The computer-generated fake video and audio is here. Deepfake, the ability of rapidly evolving artificial intelligence capability to construct and create real-like audio-video recording of people, places, speeches, and events is a growing problem with enormous security implications for the future of humanity. The reason behind that is the artificial intelligence-based technology that is used to produce or alter video audio content so that it presents something that did not in fact occur is getting better and better every single day. From deepfake images to videos, text to talks, events to places, the technology-driven misinformation and disinformation is becoming a cause of great concern. To discuss the dangers of deepfake further, I'm delighted to welcome Arie Brish to Risk Roundup. Arie is an investor, thought leader, advisor, board member, author, and speaker. He wrote the bestseller book about commercializing new products and services called Lay an Egg and Make Chicken Soup. Welcome, Arie. We are delighted to have you on Risk Roundup.
Thanks for having me.
Wonderful, Arie. So, from your assessment, what do you think are...
Sorry.
That's okay. So from your assessment, which technological advances have created this technology infrastructure to make deepfake audio and video possible?
Okay, so it's a evolution. It's not a overnight thing that happened. If you go back to the beginning of video telephone, AT&T had an experimental project to facilitate video call between people. And the way they did it, that's back in the 50s, I think. The way that they did it, they took a still picture of you with your mouth open, another still picture of you with your mouth shut. So you have two pictures, and then you talk normally to the audio lines. The pictures are being transmitted to the other side, so the other telephone has this only two picture, and based on your voice, they will show the picture with your mouth open, the picture with your mouth shut, and that created the illusion of having a video call with the other person, although it was kind of a simulated video of the other person on the other side, on the other platform, on the other side. So this is kind of similar approach to what this deep fake video that we start to hear about in the past year or two. They take a picture, could be a picture of somebody that died, hundreds of years ago, and they can manipulate the picture and show the person with different, different head movement, different mouth position, and try to create or creating a video of this person talking.
Yes.
If they have a sample of the voice of the person, let's say a politician from the past made a speech, or somebody just talked on the phone, you can use that voice to simulate or to mimic this other person voice, saying whatever you want him to say or you want her to say. And that application is available today on the telephone. You can download to your phone today this app, or actually there are several apps doing the same thing. And you talk normally, the other person will hear you with somebody else's voice. So, you can say, okay, I want President Trump voice on the other side. You talk normally, and the other person thinks that President Trump is talking to them. So on the voice side, it's probably several years already. On the video side, they're just starting to emerge and show the capability.
Yes. So the audio application that you just talked about, is it like easily available? Anybody can...
Yeah, you can download to your phone today.
I see. Do you know who created that?
There are several vendors. I can look it up. So
there are no laws against it. Is it allowed? The governments are allowing this.
So yeah, that's a very good question, and the same question about the deep fake. No, normally the legal system is behind the technology. So yeah, if I pretend to be President Trump and I'm calling President Putin and start World War III, maybe there will be some legal implications against me.
Yes.
But if a kid in school just use it to make a practical joke with some other kid, I don't know what the legal system allows or not allowed to do. And
Yes, it is.
we need the lawmakers. We need to catch up with these technologies so they can put some boundaries on how you can use it and not use it, and what are the penalties of abusing that.
Yes, of course. And now the audio application that you talked about that is available today, how widely it is used? Is it like an isolated event, or you see a trend or pattern emerging that, a lot of people are using, or a lot of, this?
I haven't seen it broadly used. Nobody called me and pretended to be somebody else, or at least
Yeah, so it's
maybe they did, and I don't know.
right,
But so I think people are not aware of that. Maybe the kids are. Sometimes the kids are
probably.
pushing the envelope much faster than we adults do.
Yes, very true, very true. And as far as the video deepfake goes, how is it like a still an isolated event, or you see some trend or pattern emerging?
Well, you can see today on the internet, if you type deep fake, you'll see President Lincoln talking on a video, and it looks a little funny, but I think it's within the reach of maybe in a year or two it will look totally realistic. Now
Yes,
you can kind of tell that something is funny with this video, but I'm sure they're on the right path to make it totally realistic. And I'm not saying it's bad. It's like any other technology. You can use it for very positive causes. It's some people take advantage of the technology by abusing it for negative
yes.
purposes.
Very true, very true. And see, that I'm still trying to understand that why are these developers, going that path? Because this is, after all, artificial intelligence and machine learning. That is, at the heart of this deepfake movement. And before that, also, the social media was giving so much option and opportunities for everyone who wanted to spread disinformation or misinformation. They were already doing that. So why they took this path of creating such real, like, videos and
Yeah,
audio, that is.
I'll give you a few examples of positive applications. One, for example, is games. You can make the game more realistic and have real characters as part of your game ecosystem, so you can play with people that you really know and see them playing with you virtually without that real person being on the other side. It's just you want to play with your sister, and you can have the computer generate her talking or whatever. So this is one application. You can mimic other people's thinking, for example. So let's say your grandmother passed away a long time ago, but you like to consult with her. You'll have her deep fake video talking to you, and artificial intelligence could even mimic her way of thinking,
Yes.
and take this idea to an extreme. You can basically consult with your grandmother. You see her on the screen. She will answer your question as if in her line of thinking, that you,
You're right. You're
you
right.
can simulate the way person A think or the way person B think, and then you can consult with a virtual uh, person. People talk a lot about, for example, on politics. What would be the founding fathers of this country will say about this or that. You can mimic, now with artificial intelligence, you can mimic their way of thinking and really consult with them or with their virtual entity on the computer and see what answers you get.
Yes, absolutely. No, that is a really good example that you gave. That it this technology will allow us to do so many positive things. I mean,
Mhm.
it will help people who have lost their loved ones to be able to talk with them and
Right.
just
Yeah.
get a sense of feeling with that virtual hologram and
Yeah.
looking at
Exactly.
those, or just having the audio conversation. So there are a lot of benefits to that. But then
Right.
the challenge is when the boundaries blur between right and wrong. See, if
Yeah.
we use this technology for the good, then yes, it is a good development. But if you start using it to attack other people or to create misinformation, disinformation, and
Right.
start, who knows, world war, then that is where
Yeah.
we have a
Right.
problem. Because uh, this is, in a world where video is playing such an important role. We so far it was like, okay, we see any image, we say that, oh, maybe it is fake image, somebody has
Yeah.
photoshopped.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now, and so we all were like, let's see a video, then we'll know whether it is right or not. But
Mm-hmm.
now, even the video, you can't even rely on a video, because
Right.
that could be a
Yeah.
different video. So the boundaries are blurring. So
Uh,
the truth, this would create such a, mass hysteria and mass lack of trust, that, if this becomes a major development. Right now, these are still isolated events.
yeah.
But if this more and more, people start using this technology, because this is where these applications are pretty easy, from what I have heard, that, anybody
Yeah.
can download, and anybody who has some understanding of AI, they can,
Yeah.
apply these and use it.
Right.
So
Right.
if they all start using it, then, the trust will be eroded.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Right.
is, I think, when the society starts losing trust in something as important as a video,
Mm-hmm.
then I think it has major consequences, right?
Yeah. 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 And you start to see it even today. The fake news became a buzzword in the last couple of years, but you can do it even today. The news media takes, they take pictures or record video of some events, but then they show you only 3 seconds from the event that makes you think that something this or that happened. But when you see the unedited 2 hours of shooting of the video, you see what really happened.
Yeah.
So you see that a lot today. With that, like there was an event with the high school and Native Americans, that the way they showed it is if the high school kids were mocking the Native Americans, and turns out they didn't. It just the CNN or whoever it was just shows few seconds that made people believe that this kid is mocking the Native American guy, but
Yeah.
turns out he didn't.
Yeah, you're right. And not only that, even let's say, before general election in United States
Yeah,
or in any
right.
other country, just before election, if
Yeah,
some video comes out that damages one candidate,
exactly,
and then,
exactly.
by the time people come to know that this was
Yeah,
a fake video, the elections,
yeah,
have already happened and the damage has already been done. So how can
yes,
we
yeah.
reverse? How can we reverse that? Because this is now, not only just the
Mhm.
damage to an individual person, it's a damage to an institution. It's a threat to
Right,
democracy, right? I mean, when
exactly.
the
Mhm.
video. So how do we detect this kind of, deepfake videos? Is there a technology that is effective in identifying that this is a, fake video?
Yeah, so there are two ways to approach it, I think, both complementary. One is to have a technology that will detect if the video is real or fake, or audio for that purpose. So this is a technological solution, and think about install this filter, so to speak, on your TV or on your computer, and if you see a candidate saying something, the computer will tell you immediately if this is real or fake. This is one possibility. The other one is has some legal boundaries.
So you are
So,
suggesting to create a system which gives a almost like a accreditation that this is
correct,
right fake video or this is a true video.
correct,
So this kind of like credit rating kind of system that
correct.
that
Mhm.
that would be possible in the coming years. Yes, of
Yeah,
course.
it's definitely possible. Maybe already exists. I don't know, but it's definitely possible.
Yes.
And the other one is the legal system should have some boundaries and penalties if you do certain things. If you interfere, we're talking these days. A popular talk is about interfering with elections, right? So if you use fake whatever audio video that can twist the election one way or the other, there are certain consequences that you are going to get penalized for that. And if you do the penalties severe enough, people will think twice before they do that.
Sure, but
And
we
it
do.
works to both sides. I mean, you can use the same technology against a Republican or against a Democrat.
Yes, yes.
So we see it all the time, even on the most recently, kind of the Republicans are complaining about fake news, but you have the same thing like with Joe Biden, for example. Maybe it's not fake, but it's people are using information against a candidate, whether it's true or fake. Some of it may be probably a gray area. Normally, the truth is somewhere in the middle. So they take a fact and push it to the extreme to damage a candidate.
Sure. I mean, and that's the challenge, right? I mean, even if you create laws that would, punish the people once they are caught or anyone who is after the creating the fake video, but then the damage is already done. The elections have already happened,
Mhm.
and the results are damaging to the candidate against whom the deepfake video was, developed. So then it's a question of changing the whole election results. Going through whole
Mhm.
another polling, and that requires a lot of money, and such a large effort for countries like United States or
Mhm. Mhm.
any other country to have a whole national election. So it is, even though there will be laws to punish those people, but I don't think it would be effective in a timely manner to prevent the kind of damage, because here we are talking about humans. Once you listen to something or watch something, even if you get information that it was a defect video, the damage is already done because it has got into your uh, mind, and you start not trusting it then.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Right. Right.
even if you then come out and say that this was a fake video, the damage, changing people's mind is not that easy, and that is the challenge with this technology and with this emerging trend of deepfake, that if it starts creating that kind of damage, then the people, the common man, will start believing in a lot of things, and it
Yeah.
will be very hard to change their minds. I mean, we can start creating education awareness for the little kids, right from the elementary school, to train them to see what is right, what could not be right. But
Yeah.
changing adults mind is a very
Yeah.
complex challenge. So the question is then, where is this democratization of destruction taking all of us, because now anybody can cause damage.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not.
You probably need some major event like a September 11 type event in this deep fake stuff
Yeah.
to make the lawmakers aware and take a note and do something about it.
But I'm not even sure that lawmakers will be able to do much about it, because they may create a regulation, but the regulation won't be able to stop this in a timely manner. Because here, so far, when you were creating regulations for technologies, um, emerging technologies, then the governments and regulators were able to track all that, because all those technologies and building infrastructure for that required a lot of money. So they were just tracking the movement of money so far. But now these technologies can do such a big damage. They are not expensive technologies. Anybody with a computer and some knowledge of AI can do this damage. So,
Right, right. But if you know that you'll go to 15 years in jail if you
but
do something like this, you may think twice.
people, they don't get. I mean, look at the cybersecurity risk right now. All these cybersecurity, hackers and the criminals.
Mhm.
It's an industry now.
Mhm. Right. Yeah.
People, they get a thrill of damaging others and getting money like that. So I don't think people are afraid. People who want to cause harm, they're not afraid about going to jail. They just like to cause damage. So there, a lot of them are activists, a lot of them have their own agenda. So
Yeah. Right. So the legal system doesn't prevent people from rob a bank, but it probably minimize it to a certain extent. So the same here with this. So
yes,
legal system doesn't prevent me from speeding on a highway, but
right.
uh, uh,
No, you're right.
it's kind of a warning red flag that make me think twice
Sure.
before I do something illegal.
No, we do need laws to prevent this, and we
Mhm.
do
Mhm.
need legal implications
Yeah.
because, like you said, it will create some sort of, minimization of the risk,
Mhm.
and some people at least, will think twice before they do that. But the criminals who really want to cause damage, they won't care about it. So, I in the paper that you published on Risk Group, I read about that you were talking about that this is something modern equivalent of nuclear weapon, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
if somebody creates a video showing that a nuclear attack is coming, then the country,
Yeah.
is going to retaliate, right? And they
Right.
won't have enough time to fact
Stop
check
it.
whether
Yeah.
that is correct
Right.
or not. So this could lead into a nuclear warfare. So
Yes. Absolutely.
how do we manage something like this in those situations?
Mhm.
Laws are not going to be able to prevent anything.
Yeah. The laws never prevent the black and white thing. They just minimize. It's like any crime. You cannot take the crime to zero. You can take it down from 80% of occurrences of something to
Yeah,
5%. So,
true.
but here the damage. So that brings another part of the conversation. When you talk about risks, there is always the probability of something to happen, but then what's the impact if it happens? So take your example, if somebody can create a nuclear war, maybe the probability is very low, but if some crazy person will do that, it could be the end of the world as we know it. So the risk of, if it happens,
Yes.
is enormous.
Yes, and so we have to, acknowledge that and understand that variable and keep that in our assessment so that we know where the things risk could emerge. So, from your assessment, do you know who is attacking who at this point? Is there any cause of concern for us that some criminals are working towards creating this kind of video or this kind of damage to any country? It is. I mean, it
Yeah,
could be
right.
United States, it could be Israel, it could be any
Yeah,
country.
right. It could be any country. It could be even inside the country. As I said, you can
Yes,
rob a bank by creating a fake video of the president of the bank telling somebody to move some money from account A to account B.
yes,
So there is a,
yes, very true.
endless possibilities of bad applications.
Yes, it could create some ethnic tensions too, because
Mhm.
it could
Right.
create some video that says that this ethnic group is creating, trying to do this bad thing. So
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
this we are talking about human beings, and we
Hmm.
get irritated easily, right? As a humans, and
Yeah.
we don't rationally think that whether this is something that is possible, and we just go and that's how
Hmm.
riots start. I have seen a lot of riots, starting like that in India and other
Yeah.
countries.
Right. Yeah.
That is really cause of concern. So how do we regulate? Laws are definitely one thing, and we need to move forward with the regulation, but how do we control this? Education and awareness is one thing, but how do we change the mind of people who are trying to cause damage?
Yeah. It's hard to do a black and white. Again, it's like any other criminal act. You cannot stop it completely, but you can minimize it by, you mentioned education. That's definitely one part of it. Another part is the penalties should be strong enough to make people think twice before they try to do something bad. And as I said at the beginning, a technology that will filter those cases, filter out those cases, so you'll have a filter on your computer that will tell you this video is fake or likely to be fake. I'll give you another example. There is a technology now that can analyze your voice as you speak and detect stress in your voice. And it's used today even when you check in at the airport. If your voice is alarming stress, it will raise a red flag, and maybe security will ask you a few more questions. You can be stressed for other purposes, not because you're trying to put a bomb on an airplane, but at least it raised the awareness of the security. I need to talk to this person a few more minutes. And so these technologies, these filtering technologies exist today
Are
on the voice, on the vocal side.
are they applied widely? Is it used in United States, or which country is using this?
It's not about countries, it's about businesses. It can be police in city A using it, police in city B doesn't use it. So, but the technology exists. It's like in San Francisco, they had these security cameras of face recognition, and they decided to uninstall them because they are not accurate. None of these technologies are 100% accurate.
Sure.
But it raised red flags, so the security can come and check a little further on what's going on. So the same thing with the face recognition in any city. San Francisco decided to take it out, but if the face recognition decide that this person is suspicious because it looks like some criminal that they have on the database, it doesn't mean that the security camera shoots this person in the street.
Yes.
It may call the police, and the police will, ask this person a few questions to make sure he or she is there legally and without any bad intentions. So
Right.
the technologies are never 100% proof. At least
Yes.
today, these are still in their infancies, but
Yes.
still it helps. Every technology, whether you have a sniffing dog or you have a face recognition camera or you have a stress detection in your voice, it all helps the security people to target or to focus on a small group, not on 10,000 people in the terminal, but only a small group of few dozens or few hundreds that are raising some red flags by all these
Sure,
different systems.
You're right, but I think there will be a lot of false positives
Right.
because the professionals who really want to cause damage, just like they train themselves to do the lie detector
Mhm.
test, right? They
Mhm.
will train themselves to go through these systems without getting caught. But the common man, like you said, who has some other problems and they're worried about some other things and the stress is there, they will get flagged, and that will cause widespread just a nuisance for a lot of people. But I'm glad that the technology is there, and I hope that we can make it more intelligent to see that where the stress could be originating, what kind of stress it is. And with the advances that are happening in machine learning, and the neuroscience, maybe we will have that kind of development that the machine learning, that the AI will be able to differentiate where the stress is originating.
Right.
And if we are able to do that, then we will have a very positive application of that technology without creating a lot of panic for the travelers,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
they're
right,
doing.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. So that the trick is to find the right balance between, as you said, not create unnecessary panic,
Yes.
but still be alert and focus your attention on a smaller group of people.
Yes, very true. So that is exactly what we all should be doing. So having said that, what would you like to tell our global viewers and listeners, especially about your book and any other initiative that you are working on that you would like to share the information with our?
Right. So basically, the future has lots of risks. So my book is kind of giving you 100,000 view of all the risks that are involved in introducing new products or new technologies or new services into the market. The future is never totally predictable. But if you are able at least to identify the different risks, make the list of them, and plan mitigations, you minimize the risk by doing the mitigation. What I found out by mentoring lots of young executives, they don't have enough experience to be aware of all the obstacles and all the pitfalls that they're facing. So the purpose of the book is kind of give you 100,000 feet of, you have to look at A, B, C, D, almost like a checklist. But the book is a checklist, but it gives some entertaining examples of what people did in the past. What did they do right and what did they do wrong, where people failed, what mistakes they made, and what were the consequences of the mistakes, or the consequences of making the right decision. And my approach in the book was taking older examples, because if you look at a company that is only 2 or 3 years old, you don't always know if that's going to succeed long term. You need to look at something that's 20 or 30 or 50 years back. I had some examples from 200 or 500 years back. When I do my talks, I take the invention of the wheel as one of my case studies, because it follows some of the same business issues that you see today on commercializing any new idea.
Yes.
So that's one. The other thing, I did it diverse as far as different countries. So I took from different cultures, different industries. You can learn from each other. Whether you are in pharmaceutical, you can learn something from an airline, or vice versa, or computers, or whatever the industry. Most people stay in the same industry all their career, and they're not aware that this other industry solved the same problem 20 years ago. So you have to be able to talk to or at least learn from these examples, and make a better decision for your own business.
Yes, that is very true, and that is what is necessary. And I'm glad that you have taken that initiative and developed that checklist, because having that checklist gives us guidance, what points we need to be careful about and what we should be paying attention to. So thank you so much, Arie, for participating in Risk Roundup today. We appreciate your thoughtful insight on deepfake, and I'm sure our global viewers and listeners would benefit tremendously from the information you shared. And even if a single decision maker can understand the complex challenges emerging because of the deepfake technology and its applications, after listening to this discussion, this Risk Roundup dialogue has been of service, and we thank you for that.
Okay, thanks for having me.
Wonderful, Arie. So, Risk Roundup, a global initiative launched by Risk Group, is a security risk reporting for risk emerging from existing and emerging technologies, technology convergence, and transformation happening across cyberspace, aquaspace, geospace, and space. We at Risk Group believe that risk management, security, and peace, they all walk together hand in hand. Though security is related to the management of threats and peace to the management of conflict, risk management is relevant to management of security vulnerabilities as well as management of conflict. It is not possible to conceive any one of the three without the existence of the other two. All three concepts feed into each other. We believe that the security we build for ourselves is precarious and uncertain until it is secure for everyone across nations. Tradition becomes our security, so if we build a culture of managing risk effectively, it will lead us to security, and security will lead us to peace. Let's manage the existing and emerging risks together. For more information on the Risk Roundups, to watch the Risk Roundup video audio podcast, please go to riskgroupllc.com and do not forget to subscribe and share. Until next time, I'm Jayashree, host of Risk Roundup, signing off. See you next time. Thank you.